Hello and welcome to your physics course, week number 1. This video's purpose is to take you just really quickly through a week and show you the format. Every week the format is going to be very similar. There's a kind of a consistent format to the weeks to give you a little bit of heads up so you know what's coming each week and you can kind of plan ahead for that. So this is the introduction page. Every week has an introduction page. This is for week 1. As we look down, you have some basic information, and then the two things that you'll always see on the introduction page is number 1, the weekly checklist, and number 2, the critical questions. So if you look at the checklist here, it kind of gives you a brief overview of everything you're going to do. And this is the same for every week. So very first off, you're going to review the critical questions. The second thing you're going to do is begin the content by watching the lectures that are on the content page. Then you will go through the textbook sections and do some practice problems at that point, getting you ready for the quiz. Once you feel ready for the quiz, you'll take quiz number 1, or quiz for the week, and then from there you will go into a discussion, and then after the discussion into a classroom application assignment, and then after that you will have your weekly unit plan that you're going to be building. All of these things you read about in the Start Here page and in the introduction page to the class when you first got going. So let's come down here to this. This is the real important part of the content. Every week you have a series of critical questions. The critical questions are your study guide for the week. These are the things that you really should know by the end of this week's content and applications and stuff. So make sure that every week you write this down, write all these questions down, and you use them as a study guide and as kind of a reference to gauge how you're doing in your progress through the content. Once you've done that, then you would click Next down here at the bottom. And they'll bring you to the content page. As you can see here, we've got some introduction stuff. And then, so you read down through this, it shows you the critical questions again. You'll come down, there's a bunch of video lectures. The video lectures all have a time on them here and also which critical questions are going to be answered. This is to give you some information so you can gauge how long this video is going to be and then also what you should be looking for. As we go down a little bit further here, once you get past the video lectures, you do go through some textbook sections. Now, as it says here, remember the problems at the end of the sections are not required, but the more of them you can try, the better off you'll do on the quiz, and that is totally true. Physics, there is a lot of problem solving and a lot of math, and so the more practice you get at problems, the better. Now, we do realize you don't have a ton of time, so we went through and we've suggested specific problems that we think will get the concepts across. So kind of a bare minimum, and you can see those are suggested here for each of the different content sections. Now, if you feel confident from the video lectures on the content, then you don't really have to read these sections. You can just try the practice problems. But, you know, if you need a little more help, you can read through the textbook sections as well. Alright, so once you feel confident, click Next. That'll bring you to the quiz. Once you're at the quiz here, go ahead and give it a shot. Take it. You can take it 3 times. That's the maximum amount of times you can take the quiz. You do have to get a 70% or higher in the class, so I would suggest you try really, really hard on that. Alright, once you get done with the quiz, you click Next again, and it brings you to your discussion for the week. This week's discussion has to do with distracted driving. With the discussions, what you do is you'll end up posting an original post of your own, and those are always due by Sunday, and then you'll be replying to 2 other people's posts with a given format that each discussion has listed out, and those 2 replies are due by Tuesday every week. There is a rubric that goes along with this. Once you're done with that assignment and you've submitted your posts and everything, you click Next. And that brings you to the classroom application portion of the week. This week's classroom application gives you an option of 2 different lab activities. Every week there's going to be some sort of hands-on thing that you're going to be putting together and writing kind of a write-up for to be able to use in a class. Now, if you don't have a class to do physics stuff with, the minimum is we just ask you work with 5 people. It can be anybody. But you can see here, you know, quite a bit of description. It looks big, but really when you read through it, it's not that in-depth. It's just perform one of these 2 labs. It's pretty simple, and a little bit of write-up that goes with it, and then you submit it. Once you've done that and you've compared it to the rubric, you submit your assignment, then you click Next. That brings you to the unit plan. This is kind of your weekly assessment piece. And this is going to be the same every single week. So every week you're going to make one of these unit plans. So you're going to get really good at it and it'll get really fast. We have given you a template for it and some pretty specific instructions on how to make this unit plan. Now, we do allow you to use any format you want. You can use any program you want, and you can use any format as far as the structure of the unit plan. However, we do have some specific sections that have to be in there. So we really suggest that you at least look at our unit plan template that we've given you here so you can have an idea of what we want. Okay? There's also a rubric that goes along with that. Make sure you review that. Once you finish that part of the week, then you're done. You click next, and that takes you to just this last page here, which is just another check just to make sure so you can look at it and say, yes, I've done these things, and I feel really good about these critical questions. I know what I'm doing, and then you can click next and go on to week 2. Alright, so I hope this was helpful for you to just kind of give you a brief overview of how each week's going to go. Each week will be exactly the same like that. Content will change, but the format does not. So have a good time, and I hope you learned something about the world around you.